Hey guys, this is Twin Peaks Twin Perspective. I'm Joe, and tonight I'm going to be covering Twin Peaks: The Return, parts 1 through 8, and I'm going to focus on the White Lodge and the Black Lodge. Full spoilers for everything Twin Peaks. The White Lodge and the Black Lodge are left up to your own interpretation, your own perspective of it. It takes some imagination. Not a lot of it is set in stone and clearly defined. So some of what I think you may agree with, you may disagree with. But I'm going to throw a quick video together and talk about those things in anticipation for the upcoming episode, Part 9. This is the chair, July 9th. So the White Lodge and the Black Lodge. I think it existed long before the atomic bomb. It's been mentioned throughout American history. And I thought for a while it was one place and different perceptions. We're not sure now. We've been taken to lots of places in Twin Peaks: The Return. Coop was sent into what we thought was non-existence after being banished from like the Black Lodge, and he ends up in this spot that's some people call the Moave Room or the power station. When he was outside on the balcony, it appeared as if it was a purple world with a purple ocean, and we see something similar to that at the end of part 8. Which leads us to a building that I think a lot of us are considering the White Lodge now. So not sure if that's where Coop was at during his fall through space. Not even sure if when he was sent into non-existence, if he left the Black Lodge or the waiting room or anything like that. And that's what I mean about these things. It's really up to your own perception. So I'm going to explain how I look at it. We're told at one point when Cooper enters at the end of season 2, he enters through the circle of trees at Glastonbury Grove, and he sits down on a chair, and the little man tells him that this is the waiting room. And I think he asks him if he wants coffee, and then the giant shows up, the old waiter, and then the giant. We're told they're one and the same. And then the coffee goes through different phases of being liquid and solid and some in between form. And at some point during all of this, I know Coop gets up and walks through a curtain. And once he exits this room, perhaps he's not in the waiting room anymore, and perhaps everything after that is the lodge, whichever perception he took, or perhaps it was always the lodge to begin with. But I do want to draw to attention in that last episode when Major Briggs speaks with Sarah Palmer, and there's a voice from the other place speaking through Sarah Palmer, and it's the little man, and he says, "I'm in the Black Lodge with Dale Cooper. I'm waiting for you." And then I'm not sure, but I believe the very next scene, the little man tells Coop this is the waiting room. So take what you want from all of that. I'm going to call the red room the Black Lodge. And I'm going to call the purple room, the purple world with the black and white room where the giant 7 question marks was, I'm going to call that the White Lodge. And that's where I'm going from here. In the Black Lodge, we see Laura, we see Leland, and it seems as though Laura's been banished somehow, perhaps for whispering something important into Cooper's ear. And then we see Leland say, find Laura. It's almost as if Cooper's on a new journey to find Laura. And of course, with the whole gold ball thing getting sent to Earth in the past, we're not even sure what Laura is anymore. She says she's dead, but yet she lives. At one moment she says, I feel like I know her, but sometimes my arms bend back. And in the very next thing she says, I am Laura Palmer. So she's not telling us anything either, but there is this bright white light when she pulls her face off, and that indicates that there's a goodness there, a pureness there. So perhaps she crossed the line when she whispered in the Coop's ear, and that's why she was banished. We'll see. But I think that's something that Cooper's going to have to take care of. He's going to have to go and find Laura, and he's going to have to come to his own senses first, because right now he's running around being Douglas Jones. I forgot to mention in my last video, when I was talking about all the other locations, I forgot to mention the Fat Trout Trailer Park. So Carl Rod was there, and a guy named Mickey joined him, and Linda, or Mikey, I'm sorry, it's Mikey. Is it Mikey or Mickey? It's Mickey. And then Mickey had to go into town and pick up mail for Linda, and we've heard Linda before, so you know, we talked. My brother and I spoke about Carl Rod before, and hoped he was a bigger part of it. He is gifted. He went somewhere. You know, he was abducted when the log lady was. So we believe he's gifted, and he sees the spirit lift out of the boy that was run over by Richard. So had to get those three guys mentioned since I didn't mention them before. So in the Black Lodge we see Mike, and then we see the evolution of the arm. Now in the credits, Al Strabos is credited as playing Philip Gerard. Now Philip Gerard was always the host, the guy that was alive, you know, delivering shoes. And Mike was the inhabiting spirit. So I figured this whole time we're watching this one-armed man in the Black Lodge that this is Mike. But he's credited as Philip Gerard. Now, make of that what you will. There's a big deal about doppelgangers in the Black Lodge. We know that Coops escaped. So now we're left to assume that everybody has a doppelganger, and we're questioning everything. Like, was Annie real? Was Annie a doppelganger? Was Laura a doppelganger? Is the real Laura in the lodge? Does Leland have a doppelganger? We see the one image of this guy at the end of the season. Looks like Leland, and he says, "I did not kill anybody." It seemed like his hair was striped. He was almost like that thick form of coffee in between stage. His eyes were weird too. You know, some people want to say the white eyes identify a doppelganger. You know, Doppeldale's running around with solid black eyes. So it's really all just imagery, and it's really up to your own interpretation of what it all means. I'm going to believe in a doppelganger when I see that there's, you know, two of them. Some people say Maddie was Laura's doppelganger. You know, it goes on and on and on. But I think for every real person, there's a shadow side, and that would be the doppelganger. So Leland has a doppelganger, Laura has a doppelganger, and Maddie has a doppelganger. That's the way I look at it. When Dougie was sucked into the Black Lodge, he was told he was manufactured. He lost the Owl Cave ring and shrunk into nothingness, and then a gold marble, a gold ball. Mike took the gold ball and put it in his pants pocket, and took the Owl Cave ring and put it on the podium where we'd seen it sitting before. And Fire Walk with Me, I guess that's the designated spot for it in the Black Lodge. And the evolution of the arm, you know, a lot of people thought the arm was an evil entity, and this evolution of the arm seems to be wanting to help Coop. Doesn't mean that it's good or bad, just needs Coop to win this battle between the doppelgangers, so that I guess the rules of the lodge can be followed. You know, perhaps Mike's always been bad too. Perhaps they're just all indifferent. But I feel like Mike's trying to help, and the evolution of the arm is actually evolving into something that's more of a indifferent spirit, or a better spirit, as into what he was before, kind of a malevolent evil thing. So that's what I got for the Black Lodge. And the White Lodge, I've always considered the Giant to be a force of good, He was always helping Cooper, giving Cooper clues. He even said, "We're here to help you." And when we get to this, what I want to call the White Lodge, and we see Senorita Dido, she's listening to music, and that alarm sounds. It's definitely, obviously, the alarm sounding, saying something horrible's happened. You need to do something about it. He communicates with what I'm going to say is his wife. The giant communicates with his wife, and I'm going to call him the giant, even though he's 7 question marks. I know people want to call him Fireman now, but I'm going to call him the giant because he's pretty dang tall. So he communicates with his wife via telepathy, and then he goes into the viewing theater and sees everything that happened to the earth and what we're doing and what we've become and what we've allowed in. And so he has to counter with this offering of goodness to balance the universe. That's the way I'm going to look at it. We see an image of Laura in the ball, in the gold ball, before it's sent to Earth. And I don't know if that's Laura. I don't know if that's the essence of Laura. I don't know if that's the essence of goodness. I'm going to go with the essence of goodness to combat the essence of evil. That's what I'm going to go with for right now. And when Bob is more defined in this series, if he ends up in someone else and that person becomes a main villain, and then hopefully we'll see a hero to counter this villain, and perhaps it'll have this essence in it. Perhaps it'll be Laura, Laura possessing Becky, while Bob is possessing Steven or something. If it comes down to something like that. But I'm not thinking that that's just Laura. I don't think the bug is Laura. I don't think Laura's lying dormant, waiting to be born. If all of this happens, if Laura comes back to life, that's going to be wild. And I'm down for anything. So let it play out the way it will, and we'll all come out with our own interpretations, versions. We're all going to talk about it, and we're all going to share ideas. So that's where I'm at right now on the White Lodge and the Black Lodge. The very first scene in The Return, the giant speaking with Cooper. He has all of his facilities, and he gives him a set of clues like he always has, and those clues we're waiting on answers for. So he tells him, listen to the sounds. We hear that sound. That sound has never been repeated in the series yet. Never. I know that a lot of people have heard different sounds and they want to say it. It's the one coming from the record player is what I'm going to call it. But no, that sound's never been repeated yet. The sound was a very distinct thing. It's yanking. Okay, that's the sound. That's never been repeated. And then the reason why I identify with it is because it sounds like Andy at the beginning of season 2, episode 8, and Andy's on the phone, and he says, Agent Cooper, it's Andy. Agent Cooper, it's Andy. There aren't enough syllables there in that first sound. It's just a it's Andy. But that's how I remember it. I'm sharing it with you. That's how you can remember it. It's never been repeated in the show yet. He's also told it is in our house now. And Coop says it is, like he knew what the house meant and everything else. Okay, so we've got that. And of course he remembers, remember 430, Richard and Linda. And we've seen 430 come up a few times in the series. And we've got a Richard and we've got a Linda. He says 2 birds with 1 stone. So how that's going to play out, I don't know. Could be that Richard and Linda are the 2 birds that have to be taken out. Could be through Linda you get to Richard and wherever Bob's going to be in. It's all going to be settled eventually. But we don't have any answers to any of that yet. And that's it for the White Lodge. We've got those clues, and I think some of them are ringing true now. Whenever Cooper comes to and he can put any of this to use, it'll be interesting to see. I don't know how much further we're going to dive into this lore for the rest of The Return. I'm not sure if we're going to spend a lot more time in the past. But episode 9 is coming. It's coming this Sunday. And we'll be talking about it shortly after. We'll probably put up a video by Tuesday. This is Twin Peaks Twin Perspective. Please subscribe to Rosenfield 10, and you can get all the videos me and my twin brother do. I'm Joe, and thanks for listening, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.